Welcome, everybody. Yet again, welcome to the market update with Chris and Tim. And this is episode number, I don't know, what are we for now? I think we're
Number
moving on
four.
into we're being consistent, Tim. That's what we're doing. We're
Yes,
doing that.
yes.
And
Once a week.
today we have a really good special guest. And I'll let you do the introductions, Tim.
Yes, yes. We have John Chris. Actually, his name came, we're missing a T here, so I apologize about
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But John, I've known John for about a year now. He recently came into the office and did a presentation on just a VA AI appraisal tool. So him and I talk periodically about the market. So John, you want to kind of just give everybody a little bit about your background?
Sure. I've been appraising. It's going to date me a little bit, but I've been appraising since 2001. I average about 20 to 30 appraisals a month. A healthy range for me is like 25, 35. On, bad month, I might do 16. A great month, I might do 35, 40. Um, Kicked off the year leading VA appraisal training session. Yeah, so I met you about a year ago. That was right. Went over some good AI tools that our appraisers are using. As you guys know, AI is changing the world. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those were some of those tips that you got to share with us, Tim, and John. You shared some of his AI calculating tips. It was very informative, by the way.
Yeah, but
Thank
I
you.
will say, even though with all the AI, John talked about meeting the appraiser at the house, right? Because
Absolutely a must. Yes.
yeah. So, even with all the AI, there still is that relationship aspect where, meeting an appraiser at the house and getting to know them, helps the appraiser have a clearer picture of where we're getting value from.
Well, I think that
Absolutely.
I don't want to go into that because we got a lot that we were going to cover here, but I think that's a real part about this. This business is about relationships. It really is, and I'm not sure AI can completely in today's world it cannot, but in the future, I'm just not sure it's going to take over the personal component. I just
No,
don't.
absolutely
I
not.
don't know that it can. But so to start off, well, one of the things we started talking about, and we've kind of been dwelling on, is the two counties here in Southern Maryland that we service a lot of Calvert and St. Mary's, and one of the things we talked about is St. Mary's County, John, and how the appraisals have been just steady climbing year after year.
Yeah, absolutely. St. Mary's has been pretty hot lately, especially the Lexington Park, California, Great Mills area. Probably mostly not so much California, but Lexington Park and Great Mills in particular during COVID didn't really see the, explosion of value increases like other areas did. For example, Leonardtown, exploded during COVID. But they didn't really see it, but now it's starting to, it's really starting, and they're doing a lot over there. There's a lot of revitalization going on in Lexington Park right now with them renovating the shopping centers, and I really think it's going to be a totally different area in 10 years from now. I really think that.
Yeah, I think it's like an evolution of the area actually happening there. And some of that, we started talking. Some of that was I believe a lot of it was due to the FHA limits at the time.
Correct.
I
Yes.
think that really affected the buying and borrowing power of the consumer in Lexington Park. That wasn't necessarily same in Calvert or other areas outside of Lexington Park.
Right.
Well,
Right.
I
Now
will
you're
say, Chris, based on the fact that I didn't know what John had mentioned regarding it wasn't really necessarily affected by the pandemic, people are looking for affordability, right? And if that was the area that has that, what FHA limit or no FHA limit, they'll take that affordability any other day.
Mhm.
Um, okay, and then we also talked about Calvert County, Northern Calvert County being I guess you could say, other option for people that may be looking in Bethesda, Rockville, Silver Spring. John, can you just give some details on Northern Calvert along with maybe like a price comparison of average sales price in Calvert County compared to,
Yeah,
say,
absolutely,
Bethesda?
absolutely. So commuters are discovering Calvert County because they have the great schools, price point. You can get in a place high sixes, low sevens. Whereas if you're looking in Montgomery or anywhere the is, I mean, you're not getting anywhere close to that price point. Your price point is probably 900,000, so it's a big difference. So you're drawing people from that previously live in Montgomery County or Prince George's County. You're drawing those residents down to Calvert County. So but the problem is there's not a availability of housing. It's very limited. So there's a little bit of demand there, and it's causing a little bit of a price increase in those areas.
I mean, let's be real. You can live in Bethesda, half a mile away from the district, and your commute's going to be longer than it is from Northern Calvert into the district.
Yes, with all the traffic lights and everything else. Yeah,
I mean, it makes a huge difference.
You're right about that. And the funny part is you hear people complain about traffic and you just laugh and you have no idea what traffic is.
No clue.
So with what you're seeing, John, with your appraisals, you look at 20 to 35 or 35, 30 contracts a month. What are you seeing when it comes to the contracts, when it comes to like maybe concessions or sales prices being dropped? What do you, and I know you work more than just one area of Calvert, St. Mary's, and Charles. So what are you seeing on just I guess you could say Maryland?
I just see concessions in general.
Yeah.
It's typical now in a transaction. The good thing I do like about the MLS Bright is they put the repairs in there. You can kind of break it down to see what was concessions for seller credit, and then you can see, oh, they did repairs. So you can kind of see in line what's going on with the transaction. A lot of times, so the repairs can be quite large.
We just had an offer made on one of our listings, and the buyer, it hasn't been on the market, let's say 30 days or more, so it's been out there a little while. And is it a little high price? Maybe, but they took 30. We're talking about a $450,000 house, and the offer was, they took $30,000 off the price, and then asked for 6% in 6% in addition to 30% or $30,000 off the sales price.
Right.
And I'm like, we're not there yet.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't think we're there yet. I mean, in some cases maybe, but I was just like, wow, this is a shift in the market if there ever was one.
Yes.
Yeah, just curious, John. Have you seen what's the largest concession that you probably would say you've seen? We did one on VA. Go ahead.
There's limits, as you know. There's limits on it.
Okay.
But this would be a question for you, and I don't know the answer to it.
Yeah, well, the reason I asked is because of 6% rule with the VA. We went over that recently, and the 4% rule. That's not actually that.
But I tell you where I see it is with the builders.
Yeah, the builders will switch over borrowers to FHA just so that they can get the 6%, up to 6% in seller help. So that's, something that, don't get me wrong, I'm not against builders or for builders. You guys know how that works on my end, on the lending side.
I know.
Yeah. But I will say that a lot of people need to understand that, hey, listen, they purposely have to switch you to FHA in order to give you all these concessions, because the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, the 3% rule for seller help based on 5% down or less.
So, okay, hold on. That's a nugget. That's a gem.
Okay. Yes.
Right. Because Tim, I mean, so FHA will allow you to go to 6%. Is that
correct?
Okay.
Yes.
But other Fannie Mae, other products, conventional is
3% with 5% down. So if you're comparing the 3.5% FHA down payment to the 5% conventional payment or down payment, most people that's what they're comparing. Don't get me wrong, you have 10% to go conventional, then of course you can use up to 6% seller help. But that's normally not the case when you're dealing with someone who's looking at FHA and conventional and comparing the two.
I just want to point that out. I mean, just make sure that we highlight that a little bit, because I mean, a lot of people may not know that.
Yeah, no. Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Knowledge. All right, so guys, we also talked about when we went through our rough draft of what we wanted to talk about was the new ADU laws, and I think that goes into effect October 1st, 2026. Just wanted to kind of talk about your thoughts regarding it, John. I know you communicate with other appraisers. in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. So what are you seeing based on your communication with other appraisers along with your knowledge of the market?
So I do notice that every county is kind of making their own rules, which is what the state wanted to do. So every county's got their own little approach to it. But as you mentioned, well, I'll bring up an example in Calvert County. I have a good friend of mine that just made an in-law suite for his mom, and it's actually detached from the house. Went through the county, pulled all the permits. He had to do a little bit of work to the septic system, but it was no problem. Went right through. Like a couple years ago, that probably wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? So it's kind of interesting. But as far as Washington D.C. is concerned, a lot of the new builders are actually ADUs, brand new ADUs. So they'll have like a small single family house or small row house, townhouse, whatever you want to call it. Behind it will be like a small rental unit with a, bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, whole 9 yards in it. Price point anywhere from 600 to 800,000. But that's a lot of rental income if you look at what that's bringing in Washington D.C. That's a big portion of your mortgage.
Yeah,
That's,
what area of
that was
DC are you seeing that in, John?
Northeast,
Northeast. Okay.
northeast. I believe they're building some in southeast as well. I obviously like northwest. I haven't heard anything going on in northwest, but southeast, northeast.
See,
Gotcha.
that's the missing link that I didn't pick up on, right? Like, I don't know why when we worked on this bill and spent a lot of time on it, one of the that didn't come into my brain for some reason that builders were actually going to actually just build the
Mhm.
product from the very
Yes.
beginning.
Yes.
My brain was thinking, somebody living in their house, they've been there forever, and having the ability to add it onto their property.
Right.
So I never expect builders to jump in on that, but it's brilliant, right?
It
Like
is. It
you're gonna
is.
have rental income the minute you buy a brand new construction, or you could
Yes.
potentially have that.
Yes.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm curious to see what builder sticks out with this, new opportunity to be creative. Because we all love homes, right? There's a whole network about it.
Yeah, you put on here on one of the statistics that this happened in California when they allowed it, and it gave them it was over 70,000, and honestly, it's probably pushing 100,000 now that they've
Yeah.
got just by passing the ADU legislation requiring local jurisdictions or requiring them to meet an ability to build something like that, right? So it's that's I don't think it's not the one-stop shop solution for our housing crisis, if you will, but it's definitely going to add some, especially like you said, if new construction is going to be adding additional units, they're essentially getting two for one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy to think about. But I'm looking forward to it because they think they said about maybe 10% of people have ADUs in California, right? Maybe less than that.
Yeah.
So it's not as if half of your neighbors will have ADUs moving
No.
forward, but it's good to know that there's like a trial that's already been done on it with California, Washington, and Oregon.
Let me throw one more out at you, Tim. So is that from the financing side? Like, is it, because this creates that whole rental income conversation, right? You become a landlord, if you will. Um, it changes the ability for a buyer to qualify, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does. It does. To be able to have what we call potential rent based on comps to determine, okay, great, the house down the street was renting out for 2,000 a month, so therefore we can use that in qualifying you when you decide to purchase a property that already has a ADU. So now you're giving yourself the opportunity to buy more house because you are buying one that has another unit on it.
Nice, very
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. Um, Yeah, and then, just to kind of wrap up with the ADUs and value, I know I just mentioned the value of the rent roll. And John, we talked about before, just if this new building is going to be on your land, how does that increase your value? And you were saying at this time there is no real conforming formula or information to kind of make that determination at this point.
Yeah, it really isn't at this point. Which is, I guess, eventually what they're going to do is just what they're doing in DC is they're just having you run rental comparables to see what that unit would bring in. So I would imagine we'll kind of copy that, and that'll be the way to go in Maryland as far as that's concerned.
Gotcha.
They'll just have rental comps, and but the thing is, when you're buying new construction, you're not going to have renters, right? So you're going to have to figure that out. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
brought up I didn't bring up the Stanley Martin one, but they Stanley Martin's doing them now, where like they'll have a 3-level townhouse. Walk in, you have the garage, your foyer, half bath. Go up the stairs, you got your living dining room, and then you have your 3-bedroom, 2-bath upstairs. And when I first went in it, I was like, okay, that's great, normal townhouse. And I saw this door, and I'm like, what is that? I opened the door, and I'm like, wow. So you go down another set of stairs. There's a full bedroom and a full bathroom down there with a separate entrance to the outside. And I was like, what do we got going on here? And I have noticed it's a trend. Even Stanley Martin's going back, where they had these units, townhouses that had a half bath on the first floor. They're going back and putting a full bath down there and making it a bedroom, having like a little door. So it's definitely a trend.
Yeah.
For sure.
A lot of this actually is following that trend also of multi-generational housing is really big right now, right? And so I imagine that's also part of what's playing into this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I will
Fascinating.
say, I just helped actually a client put 3 people on a FHA loan. So with the multi-generational housing, there also can be multiple borrowers on a loan to help you guys be able to afford these properties. So it's a win-win for everybody. You just have to get pre-approved, and then just figure out what house you want to buy as you make a decision between 3 or 4 people. But yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
Nice.
All right, well, we're gonna conclude with this last slide. This is one of the gems John mentioned when we were going through our rough draft about what we wanted to talk about, and this is regarding D.R. Horton and their building in White Plains. You want to kind of elaborate on that, John?
Sure, sure. They're like two of the biggest builders in the country are Ladar and D.R. Horton, and they just happen to be like right next to each other, building two of the biggest developments in not only the state of Maryland but in the entire country. So it really is having a big effect on the market, because the Lennar in particular has been building there since, gosh, probably 2018. So then you have people trying to sell their homes competing with Lennar, who's selling new homes, and it really is putting a strain on the market, because they are controlling the market, and they essentially, they want to sell these homes when they get done. So they, at the end of their shareholder meetings or whatever they have what I refer to as fire sales, where they drop the price, offer concessions, buy down the rate, that kind of thing, and that really has effect on the market outside of the new construction area.
I've been thinking about that since you brought this up. I have mixed thoughts on this, right? Like I feel like I I'm gonna put it out there, right? Like that's what we do here. But I have mixed thoughts on that. I don't know that I like it. I feel like it's artificially controlling the market. Do you know what I mean? And
I know. Yeah.
yeah,
I know exactly what
you
you're
know,
saying.
yeah, it's not. We have as realtors, we have to go out there and we have to price things accordingly, right? And we have to get values from all of these surrounding properties and see what they're worth. And for them to just willy nilly say, "Hey, look, we want to satisfy our stockholders, so we're gonna lower these prices," it really does affect the average person on the market selling their home.
It does. It does. There's no doubt about it. Now, one thing about it, Chris, is that's very interesting about it. It's not like this house, you have to be ready and able, because you're going to close in 2 weeks.
Right,
I'm
right,
not exaggerating. I'm not
right.
exaggerating.
No, I
So
know, I know.
you have to close in 2 weeks. Like if you see the house and you like it, you better close in 2 weeks. Otherwise, you're not getting that
You're not
price.
getting it. Yep.
So there is some limitations to it. It's not like they're doing this and leaving it on there for 3 or 4 months. You got to be ready and able, and you have to be ready to jump on it right
So it
away.
literally is a fire sale though. I didn't even like, don't get me wrong. I
Yeah.
know what it is, but your explanation just to know that, hey,
I mean, you have to go in there, see
yeah,
the property, decide you like it, and guess what? You're closing in 2 weeks.
yeah, that's great.
I'm going to put something else out there. I'm going to really, I feel I'm Nothing against Lennar or D.R. Horton. However, I have experienced them in the past year or so, and I will tell you that a buyer that was qualified going in to purchase for a specific price didn't leave their buying because they didn't qualify with all the fees associated with purchasing it. So to put a little sales pitch for Tim out there, make sure you get to your local lender, your preferred lender, talk to them and have you honestly check the numbers because there may be a possibility there. You never know.
Yeah, that's the best advice, Chris, because even with the supposed credits they give you, you always want someone to look at it. Because like I told you before, you could be conventional, have a 780 credit score, and then they can throw you into FHA because they want to give you a bunch
Yep.
of concessions, and that is a 1.75% fee on top of that. So yeah, no, I definitely agree, and I appreciate the shout out. But yeah, no, this was great. Any final words, Chris?
No, no, thank you guys for inviting me on here. I appreciate it. All good discussions about ADUs and trends in the market, kind of good stuff. So it's been great.
We'll definitely have you in again, John, because you're a wealth of knowledge. Speaking of which, if you have someone that needs an appraisal or a client that's looking for an appraisal, how can they get people to you, John?
The easiest way is just to call me at 240-793-9219. Just give me a call, shoot me a text. That's the easiest way.
Awesome.
All
And
right.
then with that, I guess we'll wrap it up. Tim, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great episode. What I love about John is he has a network of other appraisers because he does have such a high ranking with the VA appraisers. You said you were teaching classes earlier this year, right, John?
Yeah, I've been teaching some classes, and like I say, there's like 3 or 4 appraisers that I stay in touch with all the time. We discuss through things, topics, and they just happen to work all different areas. So
Yeah.
it is nice
Awesome.
getting different perspectives.
Yeah. All right. Well, guys, if you need someone to appraise your property or any appraisal advice, reach out to John. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe.
See you guys.
All right, see ya.